I will do my reading practice from the book Magic Words, and here I will start. Because while people generally prefer positive personal experiences to negative ones, when reading books or watching movies, endless positivity would be pretty boring. When it comes to stories, tension is key. Will Cinderella and the prince end up happily ever after, or will she be stuck washing floors for the rest of her life? Will Luke and the Rebel Alliance destroy the Death Star, or will the dark side prevail? If the answers were obvious, we wouldn't need to finish the story. But because it's not clear what will happen, we stay tuned to find out. Along these lines, many successful stories seem to follow a similar structure. Characters have to overcome various trials and tribulations before they reach a happy ending. In both Star Wars and Harry Potter, for example, the hero must overcome the death of his parents. He makes friends along the way and the things start looking up. But then something bad happens and so on. Each barrier or bump along the road is something the character must deal with before they reach their final destination. In these and similar examples, the emotional trajectory seem to follow a wave like pattern, like a mountain range. Long climbs up to high points, followed by long descents down to low points, then back up again. Indeed, when we analyzed the movies, we found that those which interspersed highly positive moments with strongly negative ones were more successful. Movies that repeatedly traversed from the lowest of emotional lows to the highest of emotional highs and back again were liked more. The most engaging episodes of How I Built This follow a similar pattern. An entrepreneur has a promising idea, something they think will change the world, but then a key supplier backs out at the last minute. The entrepreneur pushes through the challenge and starts to get some sales, but just when they are finally gaining traction, a big retailer cancels its order. Like opposing weights on a scale, positive things are soon balanced out by negative ones. This pattern is one reason Guy is such a great storyteller. Sure, he asks entrepreneurs about their successes, the clients they convinced, stores they built, and customers they attracted. But he also asks them about their failures, the stuff that didn't work, the money they lost, the dead ends they pursued, the rejections they suffered. Because interspersing these low points among the high ones does more than just humanize successful people, it builds a better story. Hearing about someone who started a company, grew it fast, and sold it for $100 million just is not that exciting. Not only is it not that surprising, few people can relate. Most of us never had such immediate and continued success. But hearing about an entrepreneur who went through 7 years of building prototype after prototype only to be turned down at every step of the way, or learning about someone who was turned down by 279 retailers before the 280th finally said yes, now that's more interesting. Low points or depths of despair make the high points that much more powerful. It's nice to see Cinderella and the prince live happily ever after, just like it's nice to see someone's business take off. But that happiness is even sweeter when it feels like the story could just have easily ended differently. Victories are savored more when they are snatched from the jaws of defeat. Highlighting the hurdles or going from low to high and back again makes stories more engaging. But we also found something else. Consider these story trajectories. The highs and lows are the same, but the emotional trajectories are quite distinct. In story 1, the ride is smooth. Moments are increasingly positive until the apex when things turn around. The ride must be steep, but it's consistent. Story 2, however, is a lot bumpier. The peak is the same, but rather than continuously increasing and then decreasing, the trajectory is more jagged. Things move in a positive direction, but then get more negative before turning positive again. Which is better, a smooth ride or a bumpy one? Humans are amazingly adept at acclimating to whatever situation they find themselves in. Getting dumped or fired is bad when it happens, but we quickly bounce back, finding the silver lining and looking toward more positive futures. The same holds for positive things. Getting a dream job or house is great at first, but the initial excitement soon subsides. Take winning the lottery. Imagine winning not just 5 or $10, but something more substantial, hundreds of thousands of dollars, or even better, a few million. How would that feel? Do you think it would make you happier? When asked how experiences like winning the lottery would impact their happiness, most people give the same answer. Are you crazy? Or, course, it would make me happier. Winning millions of dollars would be fantastic. I could pay my bills, buy that sports car, maybe even quit my job. Winning the lottery would make me a lot happier. But while the benefits of winning benefits seems obvious, the reality is a bit more complex. In fact, numerous studies find that winning the lottery, even when the sums are substantial, has little to no impact on happiness. As some level, this seems crazy. How could winning a huge amount of money not boost happiness? Hundreds of millions of people buy lottery tickets, all with the hope of winning. How could realizing their dream not make people happier? Decades of research on so called hedonic adaptation, however, has found that people adapt to their situation. Whether looking at positive things like winning the lottery or negative ones like being injured in a major accident, people adjust and eventually return to their normal level of happiness. And because people tend to adapt, interrupting positive things with negative ones can actually increase enjoyment. Take commercials. Take commercials. Most people hate them, so removing them should make shows or other entertainment more enjoyable. But the opposite is true. Shows are actually more enjoyable when they are broken up by annoying commercials. Because take commercials. Most people hate them, so removing them should make shows or other entertainment more enjoyable. But the opposite is true. Shows are actually more enjoyable when they are broken up by annoying commercials because these less enjoyable moments break up adaptation to the positive experiences of the show. Think about eating chocolate chips. The first chip is delicious, sweet, melt in your mouth goodness. The second chip is also pretty good, but by the fourth, fifth, or tenth chip in a row, the goodness is no longer as pleasurable. We adapt. Interspersing positive experiences with less positive ones, however, can slow adaptation. Eating a Brussels sprout between chocolate chips or viewing commercials between parts of TV shows disrupts the process. The less positive moment makes the following positive one new again and thus more enjoyable. Something similar happens in stories. In finance, volatility describes the variability of a stock, asset, or market. More volatile assets have greater swings in valuation. Sometimes they go up, sometimes they go down, but they are so erratic that it's hard to know what will happen when. The same goes for narratives. Emotionally volatile stories are unpredictable. Things might generally be getting better, but at any moment it's hard to know whether they will get better or worse. Returning to the two stories shown previously, story 2 is much more volatile, and this unpredictability makes the ride more stimulating and increases liking. Indeed, when we analyzed thousands of movies, we found that volatility made stories better. Audiences are dialed in to find out what will happen next and as a result enjoy the experience more. Great stories then are a bit like roller coasters. First, as we discussed earlier, a flat ride isn't that interesting. Big highs and lows make things more fun. Beyond such peaks, though, moment to moment changes also matter. Is this the moment when the bottom drops out? Are we halfway up to the top or almost there? That uncertainty makes the ride all the more engaging. Taken together, these findings about emotional language have more clear implications. First, imperfections can be an asset. Whether in job interviews or other public settings, people often feel the need to come off as perfect to sweep mistakes under the rug. But that's not always the best course of action. As long as someone is already perceived as competent, acknowledging mistakes can be beneficial. Among job candidates who are already doing well, coming in for their second interview, for example, openly admitting past mistakes made them more likable, not less. Not only does taking ownership demonstrate responsibility, it makes people seem more relatable. Revealing a past shortcoming can similarly help a competent manager become better liked among their team. The slip up, though, should be relatively minor. Spilling something on one's jacket or making a small mistake can make people more relatable. A mistake that is more central to the job at hand will likely be viewed more negatively. Second, leverage failure. When asked to tell their story, explain their background, or otherwise talk about themselves, people tend to focus on the highlights. They see failure as a mark of shame and think the best way to come off positively is to focus on the positives. That intuition, though, isn't always correct. Everybody faces adversity, everybody fails or falls short sometimes, and acknowledging those challenges makes us more relatable and helps others resonate with our story. Third, and building on these ideas by understanding what makes a good story, we can all become better storytellers. Most people are not born recounters. We are not the guy in the Irish pub who can just stand at the bar and hold an audience captive. But with the right training and practice, great storytelling is a skill anyone can develop. By understanding how stories work and the science behind them, we can make any story more impactful. Highlighting the hurdles, moving from lows to highs and back again, and mixing up moments, leveraging emotional volatility can help turn any story into a great one. Consider the context. So far, we have talked about emotions as positive and negative. Some things feel good and others feel bad. Words like laughter and happiness are positive, while words like hate and cry are negative. But there is another important difference that often goes unnoticed. It's Friday night and you are trying to pick a restaurant. You are out of town on a trip, so you are looking online to figure out where to go. One place looked promising but it's closed for renovations. Another has interesting food but seems too far from your hotel. Finally, you come across two options that look good. Both are within walking distance, are reasonably priced, and have food you are interested in. So, to make the final call, you read some online reviews. Both restaurants have uniformly positive reviews and are rated 4.7 out of 5 stars. This is an amazing place. A review for the first one says, and it was enjoyable to eat there. Similarly, a review for the second restaurant says this is a perfect place and it was worthwhile to eat there. Which restaurants would you pick? If you said the first one, you are not alone. When hundreds of people were asked to make a similar choice, 65% chose the first option, and the reason has to do with the difference between positivity and emotionality. When choosing a restaurant, buying a product, or making choices more generally, we often consider others' reactions. Did they like the restaurant or hate it? Are the reviews positive or negative? This makes sense. We want to eat at good restaurant and avoid bad ones. We want to buy things people like and avoid things people hate. Consequently, the more positive others' opinions are, the more we think we will feel similarity. But seeing things as positive or negative or good or bad only goes so far. Nearly half of all restaurant reviews on Yelp are 5 stars, for example, and the average product rating on Amazon is 4.2 out of 5 stars. Most product and services get a 4 or 5 star review, making it hard to learn much from ratings. Thank you. That's it for the day.